Hello, everyone. Welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, which is our wonderful radio station. And you are on the new streaming network.com, which is home of Going Bold Media and Going Solo Media. Tonight, this show is called Date the Right One. I'm your host here tonight. My name is Cece Shatz, and I'm fondly called the Doyenne of Relationship Building. And most of you guys know me regarding the Going Solo Network. And of course, you guys can reach me at any time. You just reach out at my Gmail, which is goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. And then, of course, our website is goingsolonetwork.com. You know, we often talk here about, recovery. We talk about divorce recovery. We talk about transition into stepping into our new life. But sometimes we don't talk enough about like negative dating cycles, right? How do we break free from the negative dating cycles? And we get into this loop, as we start dating, and we don't really know, the reasons. We just like go into it. Like a lot of us are like, even myself, when I started dating again, it was a long time, and I didn't know what I was doing or how I was doing it, or if I was doing it right or wrong or upside down, right? And so tonight we're going to talk with an expert. But not only does this expert know about the negative dating cycles, he's kind of homed in with regards to some of you guys out there. I think the men out there are sometimes overlooked because us women, we kind of count on you guys to do various different, roles within dating, don't we? And so we need to break through this kind of stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We have our wonderful guest. I'm going to bring him right up here. We're going to break through, right? We're going to break free from the negative dating cycles, the dating mastery for high performing men. And all you men out there, I know you're high performing, so this is for you. And we have Dan Aguilera. He is a coach. He specializes in helping single males, high performance, to break free from the negative dating cycles. He does this through the neuroscience-based coaching framework. Dan empowers high achievers to build confidence, emotional intelligence, and authentic communication skills, all while focusing on the professional success. Discover how your signature program and the dating mastery for high performance men leads to mindset mastery and meaningful connections that last. Ladies, we love this man. I'm telling you, if he can bring these high performance men into the dating arena, willing and ready and prepared to start opening their hearts to women, hey man, we want to listen to this. So ladies, buckle in, listen up. Guys, this show is for you. Let's talk about it. So welcome, Dan, to the show.
Thank you, Cece. Thank you so much for that warm introduction. Really
excited.
Oh,
we love it. We love having you here. I'm so excited to have you. You got a wonderful website. We'll just show it right off the bat. So you guys can run out there and make sure you write it down and check it out later, because he does have great information on there that can definitely help you. He's got a tab for resources. You can go in there and actually look at that. And a lot of the information there can help. But it's Empowered Men Coaching. That's EMPOWERMEN coaching.com. So make sure you check it out. So let's talk a little bit about why on earth are you doing this type of specialty work for these gentlemen, helping them with dating? So tell us how you got into it.
Yes, well, in short, I'm very proud of my own personal development journey in my dating life, and I feel compelled to help other men do the same. A little backstory on myself. Growing up, I was your quintessential shy, introverted teenager, very awkward, not just with women, but also just with making friends and being social. So, and in addition to that, I might as well add that my parents divorced when I was pretty young. So I didn't have really a father growing up. I didn't have a masculine influence. So I developed kind of what's come to be known as the nice guy syndrome, taught to not have any boundaries, to live to please women, make women happy, and they'll shower you with affection and you'll get your needs met. I was sort of indirectly taught these concepts growing up. So when I got into my early 20s, I started dating a little more, started putting myself out there, and I had some successes, I had some failures, and I started to acknowledge my insecurities, my needy attachments that I didn't realize at the time were sabotaging my potential relationships. So I would say in my mid-20s, I started reading a lot of self-help books, a lot of dating books, started learning a lot about the values of masculinity. how men are taught to behave in a confident, assertive manner, to set boundaries, and to lead. I lacked leadership. So this was all very eye-opening for me. And I started applying it in my own personal life, and I started to see some results. And a lot of it was mindset shifting. We can get more into this in a little while, but what really motivated me to start this business was I feel that there's somewhat of a toxic form of masculinity pressure with men in today's society around masculinity, especially when it comes to high value men. A lot of content on YouTube and podcasts out there say that a high value man is somebody who gets a lot of dates, gets a lot of women, sleeps with a lot of women. And, you know, that is what defines a man. And I just think that's a very toxic mindset to have. It makes people, it only raises men's insecurities, and it also raises their neediness. Now they feel compelled to have more success, and they approach it with the mindset of, I just have to get a woman, I have to get her approval, and I'll do whatever I have to do to get it. And you lose yourself in the process. And I think that's a real shame. So my coaching program is all about men regaining their boundaries and who they really are, and presenting themselves authentically in the dating market.
I love that. I totally agree with that. Not necessarily that I feel like, you know, almost sounds like, you know, they're henpecked, right? Men are henpecked by women. And it's not really what I think women want. Women don't, number one, we don't want a man that feels that way, nor do we want to do that. And so if that is happening to, you know, to a guy, yeah, he's got to be able to set his own boundaries too, you know, as we as women set ours. And so, yeah, I think that's important that we do understand what's good for us, what's not good for us as individuals, and really get down to that. I love what you said about like the mindset shift, because I feel that that happens a lot to us. It's like when we go through, you know, a lot of us that go through some sort of relationship loss, right? And then there's a mindset shift that moves them through that transition into stepping into their new life of being single. And then once they start getting through that, they get through into the transition of being single, they start adjusting to becoming their own, stepping into their own, understanding what they like, they dislike, and, you know, kind of a little bit more about what they want in life. Then they start moving again, having another mind shift, right? To thinking, am I ready for a partner in my life? So tell us a little bit about a mind shift as someone's going through thinking, you know, I think I want a partner in my life now. So what can they do? Is there some, you know, as they're I love this, how they're, you know, break free from the negative dating. So let's talk a little bit more about that in detail.
Yeah, well, I think a good way to start is by analyzing where these negative dating mindsets come from. A lot of the men that I've talked to have been maybe dating someone steady for a while, and then he found out she cheated on him. Maybe it was a one-time thing. Maybe it was something that was ongoing and he didn't know.
Mhm.
A lot of times things are going well and the woman just ghosts him out of the blue and he doesn't know what happened. So he's left kind of hanging there wondering, was it something he did wrong, and taking the rejection personally. As a result, and I know I've experienced this personally in the past, when those type of things happen, we tend to become, I use the terms jaded and cynical in the dating world. Essentially, men start to feel like they can't put their guard down. They can't trust anyone. A big trust issue comes in. So when they've been cheated on or experienced a bad breakup like that, they always fear, well, okay, I could meet someone new, things will be good for a while, but the cycle is just going to continue. And what I often find is oftentimes they'll do something to sabotage the potential relationship before the woman has a chance to reject them. It's that fear of rejection. Even though, you know, rejection, when you really think about it, it's not doesn't really hurt as much as we tend to think. It's simply an answer to a question. But in order to prevent themselves from getting their heart broken like that again, they rather just keep a wall up, and they think, well, if the world is this way, if women are just flaky, incapable of love, if I just go through with that mindset, I'll be protected. And while you may be protected, you're never going to grow, and you're never going to find what you're really looking for. So you really do have to just analyze it, reflect on it, accept what you can learn from it. And that's something me and them could talk about together, and then create a strategy of how to move forward with that mindset. And that goes into boundary setting, and it goes into communication, saying what you're okay with and not okay with. So, you know, while those are all terrible experiences, there's ways you could use them to your advantage rather than just become, you know, cynical about them and just feel that the dating world is just too toxic to why even bother trying, because you're just going to stay trapped that way.
Right, right. And if you're not going to get anywhere if you're negative like that. It's just not gonna happen. A lot of times, it seems like to me, and this has happened before, is that, if you keep seeing the same pattern, then it's within you,
Mhm.
you've got to step back and say, wait a minute, why is this happening to me all the time? And like you said, not setting, number one, not setting the boundaries, but also understanding your communication, what you're doing, what your expectations are in a relationship. Maybe, and this is for both men and women, because what I'm hearing, we can apply this to women too, right? As we're moving forward here. And so, yeah, so it's like looking at that and saying to myself, do I need to really step back and reevaluate myself? Am I really ready to date? Am I ready to go out there? And if these negative things, these cycles keep happening over and over again, we do have to start looking at ourselves for that. So, can you mention like some things that seem to come out often? Because like I feel like sometimes when we're going through, a lot of us have gone through relationship loss, we seem to have the same situations. It's like our situation may be different, but we have the same stuff we have to deal with, the same rejection, and being hurt before, and all of those kind of things. There's a lot of different elements within that seem to be similar. So are you seeing that as you are helping those moving through the dating cycles?
Yeah, I would say the two of the that I see most commonly are like cheating, like we talked about, and the two kind of go hand in hand. The other is like what men saying that women are gold diggers, putting it bluntly like that.
Oh
And so
yeah, I've heard that before.
unpack that a little more is that a lot, especially high performing men who tend to be financially well off, they feel that they could lead with their financial success, and that essentially they're taught this from a young age that they could essentially buy a woman's affection. So that doesn't just mean take her out on dates. I do believe men should pay when they take women out on dates, but when it comes to buying her gifts very early on, making her car payments for her, just paying for things that really he should have no business paying for, just out of he feels that he owes it to her, someone, just to show affection. And she doesn't show any love or admiration back, and she usually ends up losing respect for him because she basically feels, wow, this man is jumping head over feet just to make me happy. I can't, basically he's at my disposal. He's at my disposal. A woman doesn't want that. She doesn't want that nice guy. She doesn't want that people pleaser. That goes back to boundary setting. So I've heard that from men a lot. And so
Right.
I have to break them free from that. It's like, you can't buy a woman's affection, and you can't be leading with your financial success. That's where
My mind.
really, did I?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, you're absolutely right. Here's the thing about guys, right? It's like my girlfriends and I, we were talking about it just the other day, and we were talking about, it seems like a lot of, women, they date older, not necessarily younger, although that's changing. But a lot of men will date younger. And when they date really younger and they don't have that, compatibility, right? Then you're probably dating, a gold digger. Not always, but the majority is, she's there for a reason, and she's there usually because she wants some security. And so that the guys need to be real about that. I think if they're dating, what do you think about that? Have to really look at what you're looking for, and
Yeah.
not, it can't just always be eye candy. It has to be compatibility, right?
Right. I mean, there are red flags that a lot of guys ignore. Like for
Mhm.
me personally, if you've gone on, like again, I believe that men should, if you invite a woman out, you should pay for the date. But by at least like the second date, if not the third, a woman should be offering to contribute in some way. So say you treat for dinner, and if she's thankful and says, oh, well, please let me treat for a round of drinks afterwards, or let me treat for mini golf, whatever you're planning to do after. It doesn't necessarily mean that she's a gold digger, but you're also testing to see, is she a giver? Does she have giving? Is that a quality in her? Me personally, I don't want to date a woman that's just a taker and not a giver. I just want her to show appreciation in some way.
Mhm.
So there are red flags. Women essentially right off the bat, if they let you pay for everything, but they're not reciprocating in affection, especially when it comes to physical touch, if they're sort of lukewarm with reciprocating your advances in that way, it could indicate that maybe she's just out for a night out, using you for a night out, and there's no mutual attraction there. And a lot of men overlook that, because you're right, we are visually oriented, so we tend to look past that oftentimes. So I help guys sort of analyze that and think logically, think with this brain, not the other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm kind of the same way. Like, if the guy comes and he brings a very first date and he brings he's doing flowers and he does all this stuff to really shower you, it makes me kind of step back a little bit, because it's like, okay, I want to know the guy, I don't want to be purchased, so it's like, so I kind of go a little slow. And I have found, not always, but a lot of the times when that happens, then the people are very difficult to get along with. And so, yeah, so it's always something to it. So you want to lead with being authentic, I think, as you're dating, right? You want to step forward and being truly authentic, and get to know the person a little bit more before you start. It's okay, I think, for guys to bring tokens, and flowers. Maybe like on the first date, don't bring, a whole, dozen of red roses. Maybe just bring one flower, one flower is nice,
Well, a first date, you're meeting a stranger. So I would advise gifts aren't.
Absolutely. I don't think you need it.
For the day. Because, and it's not about question of money at all. It's a question of value. Like, I believe that you should show a woman that you're appreciative of her, that you've been enjoying spending time together. But how can you do that on the first date? You don't know this person.
Right.
What he looks like, maybe you've exchanged a few text messages, maybe you met and chatted for 5 minutes at a nightclub or a networking event, but you really don't know each other that well. So to offer a gift to somebody you don't know, it really shouts neediness. It shouts that you want their approval.
Right. Exactly. I agree. I think especially if you're meeting for the first time, you would just want to meet in a public place. You don't want it to be really long, and really, ladies, you need to, kind of wrap it up a little bit. Once you meet them, you kind of wrap it up, and you go for the next date, and that's what the next date. And then and the guys, that's what your goal is, to get the next date. So, yeah. So, no, I totally agree with that. It's kind of like a fine line we walk, when we do decide that we kind of like somebody, and, we want to, especially, I think guys, a real sweet man will want to, do a little something extra, which is very, very nice, very endearing. But you want to be careful because what you're saying on these negative dating cycles, that you're not being used. And yeah, so, and I hear from guys all the time. I mean, they talk about, dating, like always paying for the date. And most men in my era, my generation, they feel they must pay for the date. That's what they feel. And I always feel like I want to, make it so it's not so expensive. I don't want them to spend so much money all the time. And I think that's my way of being a little bit more caring and whatever. But so tell us a little bit more about this. So, like, these dating cycles. So, okay, so spending too much money on the women is one thing. Is there something else that, they need to kind of think about?
Well, just to go off of that, like when they say about, I spent all this money on a woman and, she dumped me, or she doesn't want to go out on another date. Men tend to view, in my experience, they tend to view dates as transactional, or they view dating as transactional. Mm-hmm. And again, it goes back to buying her affection. I mean, look, there are frugal dating options out there. You don't have to go to a nice dinner, but the whole purpose of you inviting her out is to see what kind of person she is, if you see long-term potential, if she's the type of woman that you jive with. Essentially, you basically aren't getting brownie points for how much money you spend on her, or what the date is. Because so basically, that's another thing. I help guys break from that transactional mindset. Mm-hmm. Just because you offer yourself doesn't mean that she owes you anything if she's not feeling it. There's no reciprocation, is not mandatory. So I gotta challenge guys' limiting beliefs on that.
Yeah, I totally get that. I mean, I was with a guy one time, and he kept, he'd spend quite a lot of money, and I was like, we don't have to necessarily go, and so anyhow, and then he, wanted to fool around, and I said, no, I just thought it was too early in the relationship, and he goes, well, I bought this expensive dinner and everything. Mm-hmm. I was like, last time I saw him, You know what I mean? Because I felt exactly that way, that he was just, it's like purchasing. I did this transaction. Now you've got to do your bit. And it's like, yeah. And I think hope he's watching the show, because I think I think he's got a lot of negative dating cycles, and maybe he could give you a call and try to get that worked out. But yeah, so no, totally. So this does happen in real life. So I love the idea that you're talking about it and you're bringing it forward so we can discuss it and be able to put it on the table, and so we can better understand. And I think too, for ladies, I think we want to understand where the guy's coming from, that, you know, it's not easy dating. It truly is not easy dating out there. So yeah, so I want to thank you for being on the show. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about these kind of serious situations that happen during negative dating. And we're going to talk about the program that Dan has, that he offers. And so that you guys can, if you're interested, you can maybe reach out to him, maybe do a little bit of coaching. I think it would definitely help you, get you on the other side if you're struggling, if you're having some problems with it, because he definitely has a program for you. His website, so you guys get that, is empowermencoaching.com. Ladies, reach out to him. There's nothing stopping you. If you're having situations yourself with the guys, reach out to him and see what his opinion is with what's happening. So it's empoweredmencoaching.com. That's EMPOWER men, MEN, coaching, COACHING.com. So don't hesitate, anyone out there, if you're having struggles with dating, and you're kind of feel like you're in this negative dating cycle, just reach out to Dan, because he'll definitely help you be able to move forward in that and change that, maybe that shift of your mindset. Maybe that's truly what you need. And sometimes we can't do that unless we talk to a professional. So definitely want to do that. You guys, we're going to be right back. You're listening to Date the Right One right here on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio, and also newsstreamingnetwork.com, home of Going Solo and Going Bold Media. We'll be right back. I'm Cece Shatz. I can't wait to see you on the other end. Hang on now. Wow. If you guys missed the first part of the show, you must go back and listen to it, because we are really having an exciting show here tonight on Date the Right One on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio and our new streaming network. Gosh, we are on Going Bold Media, Going Solo Media, Singles Talk Network. And I am so thankful for all of you that listen to us all the time. I want to thank you so much for doing that. We do appreciate it. We've been around for years now, and you guys have just stuck right with us, and we do appreciate that. Refer your friends off to any struggles that they may have. Just go ahead and share them the station information. And also, please like and subscribe to our channel, because it not only helps me on this show, which I'm Cece Shatz, but it also helps all of our hosts on the new streaming network. So we want to thank you for that. We are talking tonight with Dan Aguilera, and he is talking about break free from negative dating cycles, dating mastery for the high performing man. You know what, men out there, you guys need to listen up here, because this is a specialized show for you. Ladies, you need to sit back, get your notebook, and really pay attention, because this also affects you. So these are some really interesting, topics that we're talking tonight about negative dating cycles. We all have them. We all go through that. Now, Dan has a program right on his website. You can contact him, empoweredmencoaching.com. You can contact him with some coaching, and he'll put you through a program that might help you be able to change your mindset and really shift your dating and make it successful for you. So yeah, so you want to definitely reach out to him. So Dan, let's talk a little bit more about this. So we talked the first part of the show, we talked about, dating and really kind of setting the boundaries for guys. Anything else that you can see that's coming up that, kind of seems to be coming around a lot during the cycles?
Yeah, like I mean, like I said before, it's this pressure on men. Well, I guess this would actually be a good time to talk about the whole red pill phenomenon that's been going on online about these men who, because like when I started studying dating coaching, I learned about the true nature of femininity. And when men learn that, you know, men think very logically, we think rationally, women think and act based on their emotions. That's just how we're biologically wired. The men who start to develop the negative mindset basically say, well, this is BS. I can't rationalize with women. I can't stand out in this dating world. You know, screw this. I'm just done. I'm just going to criticize women and make them the problem. I'm perfect the way I am. I don't need to change. I don't need to make any adjustments. So that's the other extreme that I feel that a lot of men are going towards. Like I said, red pill, I think the MGTOW movement, men going their own way, incels, that's how incels are developing, just basically not going on dates and feel that women are stuck up, that women have incredibly high standards. They cry about hypergamy all the time. And social media is a big catalyst with that. Basically creating the illusion that you have to make a lot of money. You have to be this 6 foot tall guy. You have to be very popular, have a lot of friends, and have success with the ladies in order to get female attraction. And it's just hammered into us day in and day out that from what I've experienced and people that I know, that's been their experience. So when guys come to me with those type of beliefs, I basically just ask them questions that make them challenge that. So, okay, well, so you have sleeping with all these women. Why does that validate you? How does that make you high value? Explain that to me. And so it's sort of destructing this narrative that they've told themselves. So that's a big part of my mission. You know, that's something that I've gone through, and it's been so liberating to not have to worry about living up to a standard, to not have to worry about the outcome of a woman, quote, approving of me or rejecting me. You know, I hesitate to even use the word rejection because she's simply saying no to a date. She's not rejecting you as a human being. So in short, I think that the content that's online, like on YouTube and on podcasts, a lot of it is meant to be more entertaining than educational. So therefore, the content is salacious. It's controversial. It triggers people. All right, it may make for entertaining content, but a lot of times it only makes guys feel more insecure and lowers their self-esteem and makes them feel like things are hopeless in their dating world. So I'm here to combat that and shift.
Thank you for doing that, because I tell you what, it just shouldn't be. It really, really shouldn't be. I mean, I do believe that women, you know, there tend to be more women in the world, right? Singles than men, believe it or not. And so there are a lot of women out there. So if one doesn't work for you, is not working for you, there's going to be another one, right?
Yeah.
The true thing is that you truly have to home in on, number one, what you're really looking for, like not just this minute when you're dating, but what kind of person are you looking for in the future, right? And that's the kind of woman you need to be looking for. And, you know, honestly, you might date women that you don't like, right? So that not necessarily that you don't like them, but that they're not the right person for you, right? And so that works the same way with women. So don't feel rejected over it, because it's just, you know, you just have to try it and see, and then see what the woman's like. And if it's someone that you think that you could see yourself possibly in the future with, then that's what you work on. But and I hear it all the time, both men and women, you know, about, you know, like the first date, things going well, and then it just goes downhill from there, you know, that kind of thing. And it's a shame. You just can't take it personal. I always say you're one date closer to the right one, right? And
rejection is redirection.
Yeah. And my mom used to say you got to kiss a lot of frogs to find a prince, you know? So, I mean, it's been in generations and generations, the same problem, the same situation. So it's like, you know, welcome to the world of dating. And that's kind of what it is. But I hate to see both men and women not want to go further, because they truly can find the person of their dreams if they just hang in there, you know, and really not take it so personal if it doesn't work out. So what would you suggest to them about trying to not take it so personal? How can we give them, you know, the feeling of not doing that?
It's really adopting the abundance mindset. I feel that men in general we live in scarcity mindset. We think that romantic opportunities are few and far between. And a lot of men are passing up on opportunities because they have a hard time reading women's signals of interest. So this is where emotional intelligence comes in, and self-awareness, which I teach in my program. I help enhance that. So, again, I'm not a big fan of cold approaching. I just really don't do it myself unless I feel that we lock eyes or there's a smile or I feel that there might be something there. And I just approach to have a conversation. I don't approach with the mentality of, oh, I just want to get her number and take her on a date. So a lot of men, I'll ask them like, well, what's their social life like? How often do you go out? I mean, especially entrepreneurs, high performing men, they have very busy schedules. Some of them kind of are workaholics. They're caught up in hustle culture. I mean, I definitely bless hard work. But if you want to improve your dating life, you are going to have to step out of your comfort zone. You may have to try some different things that you've never tried before. And I'll use myself as a personal example. I, like most people in their 20s, I did all my, hunting, so to speak, in bars and nightclubs. I thought that was the best place to meet women. And I finally found out at the age of 29 now that that's actually probably one of the worst places to actually attract women. It's dark, it's loud, people are drunk. You can't connect in that type of environment. So, I mean, if you had asked me about a year ago if I would ever try yoga or Pilates or any type of religious group, I would have said to you, no, I have no interest in that. That's kind of weird and boring. But since trying it, I've interacted with a lot of great people. I've expanded my knowledge. I've expanded my cultural palette, so to speak. I feel more well-rounded. I've interacted with different calibers of people. And I feel just confident developing healthier habits, prioritizing self-care, making sure I'm getting enough sleep, making sure I have enough downtime. I dedicate time for my friends and my family members. I'm not jumping through hoops just to make time to go on a date or just to make time to see a woman out of desperation or out of neediness. So those type of lifestyle changes and just sort of really realizing that you as the man are the priority in your life. The only relationship that's really ever going to matter the most is your relationship with yourself. So if your relationship with yourself isn't very good, if you have a lot of negative self-talk, if you're caught in this spiral of I'm not worthy of love, the women I like don't like me, I'm telling you, it's a mind trap. And there's evidence out there. If we talk, I can point out the evidence where you're just stuck in this narrative and afraid to step out of it.
Right, right. I think what we have to remember is that relationships are built on how we feel, right? So often men are thinking, well, like you said, I'm too short or I'm too tall or I'm, whatever. Well, the reality is that isn't what, I mean, of course, there always is that chemistry that we have when we meet someone, but it's also the chemistry of how they make us feel. And so if you're feeling good about yourself and you project that out, then the woman is going to feel that too. And so and that's going to draw her in. So yeah, so I definitely see that. There's so many different ways to, and we probably should do a show about this, all the different ways that you can meet. And I know our other dating show on here, Let's Talk Dating, they talk about a lot of different things like that. But there's different places that you can go and meet. And like, for instance, I have a singles group, Singles Want to Date, on meetup.com. And we've got like close to over 3,000 people in it. So, and it's a great way to have fun, do stuff, and then you're actually meeting somebody at the same time. You're kind of, and that particular group, they are wanting to date. So they are really wanting to date. So they join it, they have fun activities, and then they get to meet people within there that kind of pique their interest, and they can go out, and do that. So, meetup.com is a great place to go to. And you can join clubs that you enjoy, like if you like kayaking, you can join a kayaking club, and there's ladies in there that like the kayaking and whatever. So it's more of an interest type of a thing. So you can go and do things like that where you can meet people and not go to a bar, but a coffee shop, like so you said, some of the other places. I always tell the ladies, like, we go to baseball games, we take them to baseball games because that's where guys are. We go to football because that's where guys are, those kind of things. So you do some of that type of stuff. But yeah, I love that. I love that. I love what you have to say. I really think you're going in the right direction with regards to working on yourself first, because the reality is we want to be the best partner we can be to our potential partner, that's going to be coming. So we want to have that relationship with us first to make sure that we are on the right page for everything, and then setting our boundaries up as we move forward. Yeah, and I think women respect that we respect the fact that men have boundaries and that they know what they want in life, and it's it's kind of a turn on for women. So yeah,
Exactly.
definitely do it. So anything else? We've got just a few minutes. We're going to have to wrap up the show. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, as far as my program goes, I mean, it's a 12-week program, and I'm not going to list every single aspect of it. But essentially, we start with self-awareness, understanding how you show up into your dating experiences, what your past experiences have been, what your present experience might be. Are you just out of a relationship? Are you recently divorced? I mean, it's not like therapy in the sense that we review your past traumas and try to cope with them. But if there are some sort of past traumas in your dating life that you feel are affecting you now, we come up with a strategy to adjust that moving forward. From there, a lot of it involves journaling, self-reflection, meeting once a week to discuss what your past experience was that week with meeting someone new, trying something different, potentially going on a date and how it went and what you learned from it. And each week tackles a different area. So it goes from that self-awareness, emotional intelligence, understanding communication, communication styles, I should say, as we touched on before. Women have very different communication styles than men do. And that can lead to a lot of disconnect, which can lead to a lot of unnecessary tension. So negating that and understanding how to communicate with women effectively will help ease that tension and ease that negativity. Handling rejection, what you can learn from it. And then also it ends with us setting a plan of action of how to move forward, because by the end of the 12 weeks, you may be dating someone that you like steady. There's no guarantee it's going to last forever. So having the knowledge of knowing how to approach the situation moving forward is much more beneficial than if you were to simply hire a matchmaker to just throw someone your way, because, if something happens in the future, you're like, oh crap, what do I do now? I got to start the whole dating process all over again. But when you walk away from this with all the skills that you'll be learning, you'll have the tools essentially forever. You'll have the self-awareness, the self-confidence, and you won't be attached to the crazy standards that men are held to in society today in regards to dating. So you can do it.
Yeah, sounds wonderful. I think it's great. I think definitely both men and women could benefit from that, and for sure. So definitely, if you want to break free from the negative dating cycles, dating mastery for the high performing men, definitely reach out to Dan Aguilera. You want to website, it's empoweredmencoaching.com. That's empowered, EMPOWER, men, MEN, coaching, COACHING.com. So make sure you guys go there. He's got resources. He's got this particular program. Yeah, I think it's wonderful what you're doing. And, kudos to you for reaching out and talking to men, because, hey, we want guys that are, that know what they want and are good communicators and can kind of get that we're different. Women are different, and we have to respect the fact that men are different and they look at things differently. We're attracted to that. So we have to remember that we're attracted to the opposite sex simply because they're different from us, And so we have to learn how to communicate with them and how to understand them and how to, elevate them, because I think a man needs to be elevated. He needs to be, shown that, he's wonderful. There's nothing wrong with showing your partner that they're wonderful, and equally so it gets returned back. I always just think it's like a mirror, right? It's like whatever you do, they're going to give back. It's like a mirror image. And so if you're being all mean and nasty and horrible, they're going to be all mean and nasty and horrible.
You attract the way your attitude is what you attract. So like I said at the beginning, if you have that cynical attitude, you're going to attract that. And really quick, I just want to add on to, I think I forgot to mention this before, but when you visit my website, I just want the viewers and listeners to know I do have some blogs on there. I also have my YouTube channel attached there. You can check out the videos that I've posted. And if you do want some one-on-one support, you can go to my calendar and book a call with me to discuss where you're struggling, where you feel you could use some help, and we can come up with a plan to work together. So just want to put that in there as well.
Yeah, because I think that would be great, because like if they don't necessarily want the 12, the 12-week program, maybe they just want some one-on-one coaching with you.
It's it's a 12-week program, but it's not, I have it laid out that way, but I accustom it to your specific needs. So we don't have to meet every week. If you don't feel it's necessary, we can meet more than once. If you feel it's necessary, we could adjust the agenda of the 12 weeks to fit what you really want. So that's just sort of the standard thing that I focus on, but we adjust it to you. So it's customary.
It sounds wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Dan, and all that you do. And I want to thank you so much for being on the show. I hope you'll come back and visit us again. We'll talk about maybe some other dating issues that the guys are that you're seeing that the guys are going through, and that maybe we could talk about those things and share it and help them online here. It would be nice. To do that.
I love that, Cece. Thank you again.
I love the conversation. So you're great. So thank you again so much for being with us here tonight. You guys, you're on the show Date the Right One on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio and newsstreamingnetwork.com, home of Going Solo Media and Going Bold Media. I'm your host here tonight, Cece Shatz, the Doyenne of Relationship Building. I hope you enjoyed this show, because I really did enjoy it. I loved it. I loved the topic. And I think, we do want to break free. We want to break free from negative dating cycles. And Dan certainly is focusing on dating mastery for the high-performing men. So, kudos to him for stepping out, really trying to help guys move through this most difficult time of dating. So yeah, absolutely wonderful. So you guys, if you want to reach out to me, you can at goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. Check out the website, goingsolonetwork.com. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We want to just tell you how much we appreciate you and listening to us. Please share, like, and subscribe to our channel. We would appreciate it. Love you guys. Thank you so much each and every time. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.